Next up, the main event of the evening, Cory Devela takes on Nick Ring. Ari, both of these guys have been to the sport's highest levels, with Devela fighting for Strikeforce and Nick Ring in the UFC. This should be a good one.
It's going to be a great fight. Devela's going to use his wrestling skills, try and take Nick Ring down, do some ground and pound, and we're going to see whether Nick can defend that or not.
Well, and we saw that last time we saw Nick Ring in the Hard Knocks cage. It was a lot of time spent up against the cage in a dirty boxing style that may not work so well for him this time against Devela.
Well, we're going to see. Nick Ring's done a very good job in the last couple of years of learning how to defend takedowns so that he can control if he's standing up and striking or if he's doing what he's world-class at on the ground. And so I think this is going to be a bigger test for Nick, and he's also going to be fresh off his last fight at Hard Knocks a month ago, and so the ring rust from the 2 years off is going to be gone, and I think we're going to see an improved and refreshed Nick Ring as well.
So here it is, Cory Devela taking on Nick Ring.
My opponent's Nick Ring. I know he's got some decent stand-up and some okay wrestling. Should be a good show.
My opponent's name is Cory Devela. He's a grappler out of Tacoma, Washington. He's a college wrestler. He's fought in Strikeforce a few times, and he looks like a solid fighter.
For all you guys that are going to be watching, I'm going to push the pace, push it hard, push it fast, break his will early, hopefully make it that way through the whole fight.
Cory Devela is a solid grappler. My plan for this fight is to, take it to him grappling, and we're going to see whose grappling is actually better.
I'm definitely going to win this fight, mostly because, I've been training hard for this one. I know I have great wind underneath me. My cardio is going to be good. I know the altitude up here is going to be a little tricky for me, but I believe I'm the better fighter, so therefore at the end of this, my hand will be raised.
I started my comeback on Jason Zengraf. Cory's the next in line. Cory, you better bring your A game, because I'm coming for you.
This Hard Knocks fight is a professional bout in the 185-pound division. It is our main event of the evening. Brought to you by Big Four Motors at Advantage Ford. And now, let's meet the fighters.
Coming down to the cage for our main event, Cory Devela, who comes to us to fight Nick Ring with a record of 14-6. Out of Victory Athletics in Tacoma, Washington. And Jeremy, Cory Devela, a former Strikeforce fighter looking to get back to the sport's highest level.
He had a loss against Luke Rockhold, which is a tough opponent for anybody right now. Luke Rockhold is going to be fighting for the UFC Middleweight Championship coming up fairly quickly. But Cory Devela is an excellent fighter, a former college wrestler that has really set his game as, I'm going to take a guy down, I'm going to ground and pound him. But one thing that he said was difficult in his career was the cardio. He thought that was an issue, and coming to Calgary with the elevation so much higher than Tacoma from where he's from, that it might be an issue. I've watched him do 7 straight rounds, 5-minute rounds of shark bait, where he had a fresh fighter in every minute. And he was getting the best minutes of those fighters, and he kept up that whole time. He was effective as a fighter that whole time. So he has the ability to last that round. He's worked on the cardio. He's an excellent fighter and a tough challenge for Nick Ring.
Yeah, it's interesting when I talked to him, he did mention the elevation being an issue. Of course, Calgary's 3,500 feet above sea level, and so that does make a difference for athletes when they come up here, but says that he's hoping he can finish Nick off early and not have to worry about the cardio, not have to worry about the elevation in the later round.
Well, the added reason he wants to finish Nick early is he wants that fight win bonus because he wants to buy a go-kart for his kids.
Yes, promising the go-kart for the kids watching at home. Now we'll meet his opponent.
And his opponent.
Fight fans see this man as a familiar face. Nick Ring, out of Champions Creed here in Calgary, coming down to the cage with a record of 13-3. Nick on the comeback trail, 14-3, excuse me. Coming back on the comeback trail, trying to get back to the UFC after 5 knee surgeries over the course of his career. A crazy amount of work done on his legs, but he's ready to come back again.
You see lots of top 10 lists everywhere, whether it's on sports channels or internet. Nick Ring is on the top 10 list of careers that could have been vastly different if it hadn't been for injuries. Nick Ring is a top-level fighter if those injuries weren't in the way.
Nick Ring set to step in the cage for Hard Knocks 44, was also the main event at Hard Knocks 43, where he got a win in that one as well against Jason Zengraf. Set to face Cory Devela tonight, who is looking to get back to the UFC or to the UFC as well, and looks at Nick Ring as a stepping stone to that career goal. Both of these guys hoping that Hard Knocks provides that final step to the sport's highest level.
But for Nick Ring, the journey back again, we talk about the injuries that he's had, 5 knee surgeries over his career that have really derailed it, but something that he can get back. If he can prove that he's healthy and he can continue taking on top-level opponents like Jason Zengraf, like Cory Devela, he's really going to make that statement that says, hey, I'm ready to come back, get me back in here as soon as possible.
Yeah, 3 fights in 3 months for Nick Ring, 2 of those MMA, and we'll take a look here at the scale of the tape.
Nick Ring, 36 years old, a little bit older than Cory Devela. Cory Devela with a height advantage. The experience, both 14 wins for them, a former Strikeforce fighter, and Devela, a former UFC fighter in ring.
Now for our official introductions, we'll head inside the cage to Jaden Ant.
And now, the official Hard Knocks fighter introductions. In the blue corner for Pro Coat Coatings, he's 14-6 as a professional, 30 years old, and stands 6 feet, 2 inches tall. He weighed in at 185 pounds, fighting out of Victory Athletics from Tacoma. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Cory "The One" Devela. And in the red corner for Canes Harley-Davidson, he's 14-3 as a professional, 36 years old, and stands 6 feet tall. He weighed in at 184 pounds, fighting out of Champions Creed MMA from Calgary. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Nick "The Promise" Ring. This bout will be contested under professional rules. The referee in charge of the Hard Knocks action is Mr. Adam Cheadle.
Adam Cheadle with some final instructions for our fighters.
Main event of the evening, protect yourself at all times, obey my commands at all times. If you want to touch gloves, do so now. Come on ready to fight.
So it'll be Nick Ring out of the red corner in the black trunks, the white trunks out of the blue corner for Devela. Square off in the center of the cage, a very quick attack here, getting Ring up against the cage from Cory Devela.
Cory Devela has very strong kicks as well. I spent some time at his gym with him about a week and a half ago, and he knocked out 2 of his training partners while he was working with them just with those kicks. And one of them was a kick to the chest, and one was a high kick to the head with a guy wearing headgear, and he still knocked him out. So he's got some big legs, big leg kicks here for Cory Devela.
Yeah, looks like a much bigger fighter at this point right now than Nick Ring. And landing punches up against the cage. Doing damage, trying to find a spot. Ring told me he expects this to be a grappling match back and forth. Jiu-jitsu versus jiu-jitsu with a couple strikes thrown in.
And you'll watch that if Nick Ring goes and tries to shoot in Cory Devela will try and do a chin pick. And when it happens, I'll show it to you. But what he'll try to do is catch the head and throw to end on top and inside control. So Nick Ring has to be very careful about shooting in, because Devela does have that very good weapon that he does use quite well.
Again, trying to throw a knee. This time caught by Devela. Devela secures the takedown, is on top of Ring on the ground. Trying to pop through. Watching, coach is calling him to watch for the knee on the way up. Big elbow to the side of the head.
That was hard.
Now some punches again on the way up. Devela very effective thus far, Jeremy, having control of the fight for the opening 2 minutes. Ring now now trying to pop out the other side. Big uppercut. Devela wary of Nick Ring's striking.
A lot of space covered by Cory Devela when he makes that kick. Nice inside leg kick return from Nick Ring.
That really cut the cage off at that point, although now Ring popping out the other side. So head kick, that one a low leg kick to the calf.
Good work by Devela again with the overhook, now working with that right hand. He's got both of Ring's hands kind of locked up here. He's actually holding onto the glove, so a little bit of a veteran move there by Devela. Not the most legal veteran move.
Coach is calling for Ring to try and find some space and back off. Devela's been on top of him for a good portion of the first round, although Nick has him pressed up against the cage now. Trying to find a double.
Trying to lock those hands underneath the hips and straighten him up and trying to get the outside trip. But Devela, again, that college wrestling background, it's a position that he's used before. And a nice throw there by Cory Devela. He's got double overs, hip through, and now inside control with 1:40 left. Lots of time to work against Nick Ring.
Yeah, great throw there, landed with authority and tried to drive the wind out of Nick Ring. Cory Devela continues to work from the top position, now has the back of Nick Ring, lands a punch.
Again, Nick Ring just recently receiving his black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, has won multiple medals at the World Grappling Championship, so an excellent grappler on the bottom. So at no point can you rule him out, even though he is on the bottom.
Trying to roll through. Again, gives up his back temporarily. Devela using it to strike. Under a minute to go in round one of 3 possible rounds. Cory Devela very effective here in the opening 5 minutes. Again, Nick Ring, participant in the Ultimate Fighter, was injured and had to leave the show. Devela, a former Strikeforce fighter.
He also tried out for that same year of the Ultimate Fighter and didn't make the show, whereas Nick Ring did.
Elbows to the side of the body. Again, just doing damage at this point, not necessarily going to finish the fight like this, but nevertheless, scoring points in the eyes of the judges, who will likely be looking at a 10-9 round in favor of Cory Devela here, with short time left in round number 1. So again, some elbows to the side, some punches through, not anything with any real velocity. But nevertheless, a win for Cory Devela in round 1 here at Hard Knocks 44. So Cory Devela getting a look over from his coaches here as he takes a look at what was likely a round 1 victory for Devela. Nick Ring also getting some work from his coaches as well. Looks like Mike Short, our cut man, is in there. So maybe something on the head of Nick Ring. That's why, of course, you see the cut man in there.
Here's the big throw that Cory Devela gets. He's got the double overs here. He hips through, good hip position and lands. And that was off the failed attack. And here's another look at the throw. Off the failed leg attack by Nick Ring, as he was able to get both of his hands underneath the bum of Cory Devela, but unable to finish. Cory Devela very tough on his feet.
Ready for round 2 action here at Hard Knocks 44. Ring versus Devela, and a Ring will come out of the red corner in the black trunks, out of the white, or in the white trunks out of the blue corner. Rather, is Cory Devela. Devela, a very effective round 1. Started round 1 with a bull rush to take Nick Ring up against the fence and really ran the fight from there, coming in with some strikes this time again, backing Nick Ring up against the fence.
And again, an opportunity here for Cory Devela to push up against Nick Ring, lean on him. Got the hand, right hand down to block the kicks of Nick Ring, and now trying to throw again. This time Nick Ring able to stop it. There is blood coming from the nose of Nick Ring, starting to drip on Cory Devela.
Grab his wrist if you can. Control his wrist. Nice.
That was a big punch up right in front of the camera there. That one sounded squishy. Nick Ring and Cory Devela. Again, blood coming from the nose of Nick Ring, just standing there with his hands down, waiting for Devela to come in and trying to land the counterpunch, was unable to do so. That one gets through, though. Devela coming back with a punch of his own, but Nick Ring dodges it and lands a nice right hand.
Nice right hand by Nick Ring. Now he's starting to counter Cory Devela coming forward, and Cory
Devela's in trouble here. If Ring can pounce on him. Devela was wobbly a little after that last exchange. And Ring now looking for the takedown, driving through, allowing Devela to recover here, Jeremy.
This is exactly what happened in the fight with Jason Zengraf. Jason Zengraf was getting the better of the striking in the first round, but it was still a very close round. And then Nick Ring took Zengraf down in the second, and Zengraf didn't get back up. And that's what he's trying to do here. Devela doing all he can to stop this takedown. He does not want to end up underneath of Nick Ring.
So Ring has Devela up against the cage. Devela has Ring locked up. So we've got Ring pressing Devela up against the cage. For the first 7 minutes of the fight anyway, it was the other way around. 6 minutes rather, and now you've got Devela trying to land hammer fists to the body of Nick Ring. Ring trying to transition, but nowhere really to go here, Jeremy.
It's almost like he has to switch to a single leg position and then be able to come through. He has now come up, abandoned the leg attack. And I'm surprised that Nick Ring isn't trying to step out and get back to the striking game, because he appeared to be getting the better of it here in the middle of the second round.
Yeah, he does pop out now, and again, waiting for Devela to come forward, trying to find the counterpunch, and now, again, a leg attack that was very telegraphed. And Devela making Ring pay for it.
This is not the position that Nick Ring obviously wants to be in, and this is where he ended up against Tim Boschen, his fight in the UFC, where he shot in against Tim Boschen. Tim Boschen was able to punish him from this position. Nick Ring, very effective striker, and again, I'm surprised he's going to the grappling here against Cory Devela.
Yeah, it seemed like he had Devela hurt, but now Devela doing an excellent job from the top of just damaging Nick Ring. Hammer fists, punches coming through. Now coming from the top. Again, Devela just landing strikes in there. Nick Ring wisely letting it go and popping out. There was no room for him to move there. Now Devela moving forward. Ring might be in trouble. That one dropped him. Ring's in trouble. Devela is swarming, continuing to draw punches. This one could be over soon. Nick Ring intelligently defending, but for how long? He pops away now and almost had to. Adam Cheadle right on top of the action, and I mean, we've seen Cheadle stop fights like that already tonight.
Nick Ring, a very tough fighter, and seems to have his wits about him now. He's back to defending, but again, just a poor position for him to be in, shooting in on this leg, because Cory Devela can continue to drop these elbows to the side of his head.
Yeah, again, Ring not even really with a leg here. Devela holding Ring down, doing what he can. I mean, right in the eyes of the judges. Continues to battle. Short time left in round number 2. Cory Devela doing what he did in round number 1, which is dominate the position and keep Nick Ring from creating much damage. Devela was momentarily stunned, Jeremy, but then Ring went for the leg attack, and that really seemed to prevent him from capitalizing on his opportunity.
So again, a good dominant round from Cory Devela, and Nick Ring will have to have something spectacular coming into round 3.
So round 2 action complete here in our main event at Hard Knocks 44. Nick Ring will get some more work from cutman Mike Short, and the ring will get some, the cage rather, will get some maintenance as well as our intrepid crew gets in there. But I mean, if you're Cory Devela, a good solid 2 rounds, and that might be the exchange that caused the nose to bleed on Nick Ring. And again, I mean, just some violent striking from Cory Devela, and Nick eventually got some strikes of his own. But I mean,
that was the one that rocked him, that uppercut. That was a huge uppercut by Cory Devela, and it did rock Nick Ring. Now, you know, Nick Ring has never been stopped, ever in his MMA career. His only losses come by decisions, so having never been stopped, obviously, is very tough, and you could see it there as he was able to survive a dire situation that he was in as Cory Devela landed that big right-hand uppercut.
So up and at 'em for the third and final round here in our main event at Hard Knocks 44. Nick Ring versus Cory Devela. Ring in the black shorts, the white shorts for Devela. Bit of a switch kick there. Ring answers with a leg kick in return. Again, the patience of Nick Ring. I mean, if he's trying to wear Cory Devela out, he's taking a lot of damage to do it.
Both the fighters have the ability to end the fight at any time. Nick Ring has that good punching power. He showed that against James Head. Also has good submission. He is the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. So having that ability to end the fight, and of course, Cory Devela, we've already seen his punching power. He's already rocked Nick Ring once. So again, lots of time left in this fight, but so far it's been all Cory Devela.
Yeah, but for a brief flurry in the second round where Nick Ring appeared to have Devela on the ropes momentarily. As you mentioned, Jeremy, this one's been all Devela.
Nice inside knee.
Responded with a knee of his own, did Nick Ring. Another knee. These ones coming harder now to the inside thigh. Ring forced to get out of the way of that last one.
Devela happy to work this over-under position and lean up against Nick Ring, trying to put the pressure on, some dirty boxing on the inside, and that's exactly what he said he was going to do in this fight, was lean up and dirty box. And so far his cardio has not been an issue, but now he's teeing off on Nick Ring. Nick Ring doing an excellent job of being able to avoid the bigger of the shots, and Cory Devela again pushing Nick Ring up against the cage.
Devela broke away momentarily to try and throw some punches. Another one right here in front of us. Cory Devela has had Nick Ring's number here through 2.5 rounds so far. So 3 minutes to go here in the third and final round. And now the referee breaks them apart, sets them back to center. And again, Nick Ring's gonna need something here. If he's going to win this fight, Jeremy, he's got to knock him out because it looks like he's got no interest in going to the ground, does Cory Devela. And just a slapping leg kick. Ring fights with his hands almost all the way down, Jeremy.
It's a good shot by Ring. Cory Devela just eats it.
Almost dares Devela to come in and then tries to find the counter punch when he does.
Devela was trying to do a nice head and arm throw, but Ring, again, tough when the fighters are this sweaty. They just slip right out of those positions.
Couple knees from Devela, not that damaging.
You're right again, let's go.
Again, up against the cage like they have been for a lot of this fight, Jeremy. Devela has just controlled where this fight is going to be, and Ring has not been able to get away.
That constant pressure from Cory Devela. 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining in this fight. And so far, Cory Devela has done nothing but positive as he continues to push up against Nick Ring. Dirty box, very Randy Couture style. And it's been very effective against Nick Ring.
Devela continuing to work as we get towards the 1 minute mark. Breaking them up again. And again, just hands down, looking for the counter punches Nick Ring. But it seems like Devela just eats one punch to come forward, and after that, it's been all Devela.
When any opportunity he can have to waste time, I guess, in the round, and be able to push Nick Ring up against the cage. Nick Ring's not going to be able to knock him out with his back up against the cage. So good strategy here from Cory Devela, and a nice, again, continuing to work. He's landing some good shots here, some good right hands, including that one that landed just to the upper chest of Nick Ring.
Yeah, again, no complaints with the game from Cory Devela tonight. He's worked his game plan to a T. Push him up against the fence and damage him from there. And in all 3 rounds, that's what he was able to do. And very short time left here in the 3rd and final round. Unless a miracle happens for Nick Ring at this point, it's going to be a decision victory for Cory Devela. 10 seconds left now as we get towards the end of the 3rd round. And again, Cory Devela just keeps teeing off and now trying to end the fight, and almost a big right hand sneaks through. Nick Ring will have to go back to the drawing board. Cory Devela, your likely winner. So we'll wait the judge's official decision, but Jeremy should be unanimous in favor of Cory Devela. It seemed like he just had too much up against the cage. Nick Ring not able to get away, and when he was on the ground, he was able to control it.
Well, it's definitely a good game plan by Cory Devela. Just take away that mobility that Nick Ring has, that outside striking that Nick Ring has, and that if you come in with a good game plan against a tough opponent, if you're a great fighter like Cory Devela is, you're going to come out on top. And that was an excellent fight from the Tacoma, Washington fighter.
Yeah, absolutely. Devela worried about the elevation, worried about his cardio, worried about everything that he could about going to a decision, wanting to finish that fight early so that he could get out of there. But full marks for 15 minutes of action from Cory Devela, and the kids at home watching are going to get their go-kart, which is pretty exciting for them at home, as Cory promised them if he won the fight, he'd be bringing home a go-kart for the kids. So the Devela children probably happier than Dad that they were able to get a win there, as they'll get a new go-kart for their trouble. Just waiting on the official decision, doing the math here are our judges, as Cory Devela and Nick Ring have a chat in the center of the cage. Again, MMA, the sportsmanship, incredible. So the official decision looks like it is in, and I believe we can head inside the cage now to Jaden Ant for the official decision.
And now, the official decision, brought to you by Big 4 Motors and Advantage Ford. The winner by unanimous decision, in the blue corner, Cory "The One" Devela!
Cory Devela, the winner of your main event here at Hard Knocks 44, and just in a moment, he will be in the center of the cage with Jeremy.
Cory, the one thing that you said to me that when you were coming to Calgary that the elevation might be a problem, that it might slow you down in the later rounds. You look like you could do 2 more after this one. Talk about it.
Well, I really don't have a voice right now. Nick caught me with a really nice punch straight in the Adam's apple, and I haven't been able to talk right for 3 rounds.
Well, I'm sure that we'll ask you just one more short, quick question. What's next for you here in the Hard Knocks cage?
Hopefully you guys will have me back. And after that, we'll see.
Give him one more round of applause for your winner, Cory Devela.
Hey, thank you, everybody, for having me here.
Cory Devela, your winner in the main event tonight. Ari, I know how much you love cage control. This must have been your ideal performance from your main event winner.
Well, it's exactly like I said before the fight. If Devela gets takedowns and controls the fight, he wins.
Now on the other side, Nick Ring again takes a lot of damage, still never been finished in his MMA career. A decision loss tonight, and might derail the comeback bid just a little bit.
Yeah, I think that derails the comeback bid just a little bit.